We are now removing this wheel bearing hub because it is making a whining noise when you drive. I'll put a video on now so you can get an idea of what the noise it's making. That is what we've got to try and sort today. I'm going to do both sides just in case, because sometimes the noise can wear in between both sides, so you don't actually know which side. I'm pretty sure it's on the passenger side, but to be safe I'll do both. I'll put a link in the description for the parts I've bought if you want the same parts. I'll take the caliper off, remove this disc and all the other stuff in there, and you'll see what else I remove on the way. And then once this is out, we need to use a compressor to actually get the bearing out, and we can go on from there. So I'm just removing the caliper bolts first. So there's one there and one just below there. Now I've wrapped that up because I've just painted it and I do not want to have to repaint that because it's damaged. So that's why I've wrapped that up. Hopefully it should protect it, but if it doesn't, then I'll just have to repaint it. That's the caliper off. Now we can move on to the next step. Handbrake down, and then this should come off. Now we have these springs here that we need to remove. You want to use the shoe removal clip. Did have one and it got delivered and someone nicked out my post box, so that isn't ideal, but for now I'm just going to use some pliers until the actual clip comes. But I'll put a link in the description for the tool you actually want to use because it'll make your life so much easier. But if you don't have a tool, then you can do it the way I'm about to do it now. So a little tip is to hold the pin here on the behind, because when you're doing it, it makes it so much easier for these springs to actually release. So if I hold it now, you want to be using the tool for this, but this is the way I'm going to have to do it because I haven't got the tool now. But before we do that, remove these springs here and the shoe, because that will release this shoe clamp so you have more access to get these springs out. So we'll remove these first. So that's one. That's two. That's that one removed. Spring's got a little stuck, but there we go. Now it's out. Now you can remove this a bit. And as you can see, it's just allowed me some more room to get my pliers in to be able to remove this. Which are these here, and then you do the same on the other side. That's the bit that goes on the front that holds the pin. And don't forget not to lose these pins. They just push it out. And there it is there. The reason why you want to hold the pin behind the spring is because if you do it like this, the spring is limited to how much it moves, and if it does move, it doesn't really move effectively. Just hold the back of that pin and it makes it so much easier to remove the spring. As you can see, you save yourself so much more time. So this is the laser brake spring washer tool, and it's a double-ended one, this one, so it's got two different sizes. This is what you need to be using instead of the pliers and the flathead that I was using, because it will make your life so much easier. And here is the tool here. Bigger end on that side and a smaller end on this side. I'll put a link in the description for this as well. When you're putting it back together, I would definitely recommend this. It would be so much easier. But if not, you can do it the way I did it before. So now that these items are removed, you can remove the shoe. And this plate here. Stretch this spring back, because as you can see, there's a little gap underneath here. Spray a bit of WD-40 on it. And pull it off just like that. And now the shoe's off. we can move on to removing this. This has come off as well, which was on the shoe. So you just want to remove this handbrake sensor here. It's also got a little bit that sticks into there somewhere. I'm pretty sure it's there. But you've got to get like a screwdriver and just wedge it in between like a flathead, and then you can just pull it out. That's the sensor. So that's now removed. Now we need to remove this clip to there, and then that will allow us to pull this through. And there's a really awkward clip here. You just need to spring it off, and then now this can move freely. And you literally just keep pulling it until it goes out free. So you want to remove this nut and this bolt just here. The only reason this has actually come out is because I've had to wire brush and WD-40 so much of it, but it is finally out. The impact drill saved the day. The breaker bar would have taken a long time, so would the socket, but it is now out. And now we need to remove these on the suspension arm, and then this should start moving freely. Of course, the bottom of the hub itself. Bottom one out. Now we need to remove this. This should have really been removed before everything, but 19's on the suspension, and a 21mm spanner. I ain't got a 21, so I'm using adjustable one. So that's them now out. Get that back. Put that back in to support it, but now this should come out. And now it is off. Be careful when you're taking this off. You want someone to hold the drive shaft and pull this towards you so that the drive shaft doesn't come off as well. Put that back in so the drive shaft is supported. And now we can go and compress this out of place. This is what it looks like. You want to take the seals out. You want to try and remember this as well with which way they go in. And they're called dust covers as well. This one on the bottom and this one just above. So we've got our press, and that is what we're going to use to take the bearing out. Got it propped up on some wood so it leaves enough room for the bearing to actually come down, so then we can remove it. So you are going to need a press to get it out. So we're going to use a 24 there just to push against this, just so it has room to push against, to push this bearing down so it can pop out there. So we're using a 24 and a 32 socket to push this down. That is it dropped out, so now we just need to push this back up. Now we have the hub and bearing, but this is what we're going to be replacing now. So I'm going to go and get the new one. I'm going to remove the other side of the bearing. Now we're popping the second bearing out. To clean the grease off, you can see the big O-ring C-clip. And there it is removed. Here is the new one compared to the old. As you can see, the bearings are just destroyed. Same with that one there. It was due an upgrade. So out with the old and in with the new. And there is the full bearing complete and the dust seals. Now we're greasing up the inside and some on the bearing to make it go in a bit easier. And that is in the perfect position. Put a bit of wood on top, put the circlip in. Just like that. Now it is in position. Bit more grease. The first seal is in. On the reverse side, I'm gonna put some more grease around it as well. And then add the new one, which is this way up. It will look like this when it's in. Forget to remove this as well from the inside. That is not meant to be included. Now you want to swap over the old ABS ring and the screws onto the new one. Pop the ABS on and then you get your gold screws and just screw it in place. Just like so. Come to a conclusion that I'm going to replace this because it is absolutely battered and it has served its days. So I'm going to buy a new one. So when the new one comes, you just take this little circle plate off here and then we can put on the new hub. Obviously not that one, but you know what I mean. So when the new back plate comes, we'll put it on there. So we've now removed the knuckle from the back plate. The back plate is literally just gone. So I'm going to paint this as well because obviously we're going to have a brand new back plate. It's going to be in like satin black or something. And I'm going to do this in gold to match the caliper so it stands out better. I'm going to do the nuts in gold as well, just because then it looks a bit more OEM rather than painting in black. So that's out. That's going to be refurbished. I've already sanded it down and got it back looking a bit better than what it was. So now I've got to wait for the back plates and I'm going to spray these gold. So I've got some solvent cleaner and that's what I'm going to use to degrease this thing. So all I'm going to do is degrease it and then I'm going to masking tape around the bits that I don't want painted, which aren't meant to be as well. So it'll be around here, around there, around there, and then I can get ready to priming it and then painting it gold. So it's now been primed and I'm just waiting for it to dry. And I'm going to go with the exact same colour. You would have seen this in the previous video of restoring the Subaru. I'm going to be using the brake caliper gold. So that is the colour I'm going to be using on there, because it's going to match the exact same colour as the calipers, of course. I'll put a link in the description for that as well. So it is now dried and I'm just going to take all this tape back off, and it is done well at protecting it. And the same there, that is perfect. So that is all good. As you can see, it's looking a lot better and it matches the gold calipers, which are just here. Obviously I put lacquer on both and dry. It does look wet, but when you touch it, it is just finger dry, so it's all good. And the same on the other side. Before and after, obviously the dust cover has completely corroded on that, so it doesn't even exist. That really has served its days. So what I'm going to do, because they're already a little bit damaged, I've only just unwrapped them, I'm going to scotch pad this down, paint it black again, because like I said, it's damaged, and then I'm going to put some seam sealer or tiger seal around here just to try and protect it. So around this bit there, and on the other side I'm going to do it around here, just to give it a bit of a longer lasting life compared to what that's turned out to be. I'm going to have to take the rubber out of that because it hasn't come with it. I'll put a link in the description for this. So let's get them scotch sanded down and painted and resealed. That is the code if you want them as well. Otherwise it'll be in the link in the description. And there's the other one next to it, which is one left and one right. I think that's the right order, but you'll know either way. Now that we've been scotch sanded down, I am now going to degrease it with some solvent cleaner, and once it's degreased I can then paint it, and then I'll use some tiger seal to seam seal it. I'm going to do it in gloss black because that's what they look like when they came, so that's what I'm going to do it back in so it looks the same. So I'm not going to put any there because I don't think it really needs it, but I have put it around here. So on this side, I'm just going to be doing around there, following it round, same there, nothing inside, and that is it. So it's now just been tiger sealed, and that should hopefully make it last a little bit longer than it usually does. Fingers crossed. And I'll just do the same on the other one. So we're now going to take the rubbers out of the old ones because the new one didn't come with any. So they're just there. So that's the front, and that's what it looks like at the back. You can just see it. You can see it a bit better there, and that's what we're going to be getting out. And that is what we look like. So I'm going to give it a clean and degrease it. So you just do that on both the old ones and put them in the new ones. Put the grommet or bit of rubber back in, just where that arrow is. Just like this. And then you do the same on the other side. So make sure that this bit is pointing up, not this way. That is the wrong way around. So that side should be facing the way it is, and then obviously flip this over, and this side would be facing that way. So that way up here, this way up there. And here is the original, which is crumbling away, and here is the new one. So that's them both side by side. It's a good job. I upgraded these. Yeah, they were £99 each for left and right, but it was definitely worth it. I mean, this right hand driver side one had none of this dust cover left. It was completely demolished, which you can see there. So they definitely needed doing, but they're finally done. Just waiting for them to all dry, and then we can put them back on the car. I'm also going to be replacing the bushes. Also got some new lateral strut bolts. And on the right side, which you wouldn't see because I haven't been showing that side, I've had to replace the ABS sensor because the other one broke. Just here, it got stuck and it was a nightmare to get out. But this is the replacement, and that is what I'm going to be replacing. A little heads up for anyone wondering where this goes. You need to remove this here. There's a bolt there you need to unscrew. You follow it through, and it's got another thing holding it up, which is a bracket you can just see next to it. You can see just there, that is where the wire goes. So you pull it down. Then you need to come inside the car, undo the back seat, just the bottom bolts here, you don't need to do that. And just lift it up, and you will see the wire here. And that is the one you need to unplug. So just unplug that. Then you want to pull it through with a little grommet, which is just there. And as you can see, that's where it will come through. So you would just pull it up or down, whichever really. But your easiest bet is to remove the grommet because it's hooked in there and you'll struggle to get it out. And literally just push it through like that. And now it is free. And then you just unscrew the bolt there. That's where my original broke. So that's the old one. Like I showed you earlier, this is the new one. And this is the new part that will plug into the bit under the seat. And it comes with a new grommet as well, which is a bonus. So you don't have to worry. About taking this one off because it's getting replaced now. So that is just a heads up for anyone wanting to know. That's the bolt out the back of this one. Then you just got to do that one, and then it should just fall through. Once you do that, you probably won't be able to get it off all the way because it's quite tight, but you should be able to just slip it out. And there is the old one, and you just do the same process to install the new one. One nut just there as well. Mine looks very, very corroded. That is what the new one will look like. So that is this here. That nut there will go in here. So we put some grease on, and now we're going to try and put in the bushes, which is going to be easy said than done, so don't have a press, but if there's a will, there's a way. What we've done is we've took the bolt out of there, and we're going to thread it through the bush. Put the wash on. And then we're just going to tighten it, and hopefully it'll push the bush in. and it is somehow actually working. Obviously it'd be better to use a press, but if you haven't got one, put a load of grease on and try this, because it seems to actually be working. Now, because we got to the end of the thread, we're trying this as well. You literally just pull it through, and that is one hard but another way of getting the bush in without using a press. So now you know, if you don't have a press, try that and it should work like it has for us. And you just do that on every single one. So we've got to get that one out and do the same on the other two, but that's how you do it. And this is the same bolt that we used in here, and we're using this tool there, and we are trying to pry the bush out because we also don't have a press. Bit of a challenge, but it is coming slowly. Just got to basically keep doing that until it's out. And maybe just give it a little drill as well. So we've done a little bit of drilling on the end, it went all the way through, and that is the bushing now out. So do that on every side as well. So we've just screwed in the knuckle onto the back plate, and as you can see the gold screws are showing. Bit of gold there, you probably won't see it, but at least if you look under the car you will. Now we're just greasing up the hub and then just pushing it in place. Obviously the ABS is on as well, which you take off the old one. Then we're just going to press it back in. So we put 2 washers on so we don't damage the hub. Now it should just go in. We've now got the 32 in and we flipped it the other way. Just get that last bit in. And that is it compressed into place. That's what you do, and now it can go back on the car. This is what it is looking like. Now it's finished, now it can go back on. And make sure to use plenty of grease. Now you just build the rest up with all the shoes and everything, and I'll show you what it looks like after, and then the car should be running fine after that, and that will be the end of it. So that is all the shoe back on, and the bottom, that is what it should look like when it's back on. Same with the spring, both sides. Same with the top, make sure this is with the arrows pointing up, the pointy bits. Here's the back, the new knuckle, and the new ABS bolt. All the bolts are in the coilovers and the bottom there. And now we put on the brake disc. And this is the adjuster which you adjust for your handbrake. This is nice and free, so we've been able to do it with our fingers, but normally you should do it with a screwdriver, but that's your adjuster. Disc back on. It's a little bit tight, so we're just gonna decrease the adjuster a little bit and do it a tiny bit tighter. One more click, and that is it on perfectly. And now we're going to get the caliper back in position. Just like that, and then you need a 14 to put your 14 bolts back in. And that is the calipers now locked in and ready to go. And it is all now back together. You can't even see the gold knuckle unless you look up, but at least I know it's there, and if you looked under the car it just makes it look a bit fresher. Calipers back on, new strut link bolt, and that is it done. It's ready to go. We need to do the other side so I can lock this in properly, and then the wheel can go back on, because both sides need to be locked in with the shoes and everything so you can tighten this up, otherwise it will just spin. The hub kit also comes with this, which is to go on here, which is a drive shaft nut bolt. That's the old one. I'm going to take that back off as I didn't realise it came with new ones, so I'm going to put that on to replace the old one. We're also using some white spray grease just to stop everything seizing as well. And it will look like that, and that should prevent it from seizing, which is another good thing because these were completely seized. So we've now copper greased the outside and all the threads. Now we're tightening the new 32 up. Won't spin anymore because the handbrake's on, and that side is done as well. So now both can be tightened, as you have to do both at once, otherwise it will just spin on one side. So now both are done, it will tighten up. Knocking the keyway in to stop the nut coming off. And that's what it should look like. This is the aftermath of it finished. And unfortunately, after all of that of doing the wheel bearing, the passenger side, yes, was actually worn out and needed replacing, but the winding is still happening the exact same as you've seen at the start of the video. It turns out engine tuner found out that it is the rear diff. So it's an engine tuner right now having its rocker cover gaskets done and its rear diff, and hopefully after all of that it will be the end. But thanks for watching this video anyway. There is similar sounds to this with wheel bearings, and my wheel bearing was damaged, so it's more than likely it was adding to the noise as well with the diff, so it wasn't helping, as at the beginning the noise was coming from the rear, which obviously the rear diff, yes, but the bearing was also worn down, so that would have helped with the noise. So it is partially the problem, but for my sake it isn't the full problem. So I'm getting the rear diff done now. It won't be in the video as it's getting done by engine tuner, but thanks for watching how to change the wheel bearings. Hopefully that's helped you all out, and I'll see you all in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow the journey for more.